Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Bruce Poppy. This is Unpopular Viewpoint. I'm super excited today. Got my special guest here right on the screen with me, Michelle Fielding. And just so you know, in case you're wondering, because of the time change, she's at an undisclosed location somewhere in Europe, over in that part of the world. Because of the whole time change thing, I got confused. So I thought we were going to be doing a live stream later tonight, but we're going to record this now this afternoon. And I'm going to be uploading. So you'll be seeing this as a replay this evening when I put it out there for everybody. 7:30 tonight is what I had intended. But like I said, time zone things, brain's all a little bit foggy and messed up. So I'm super excited. I want to welcome all my friends and family and fellow patriots, and even you trolls, haters, and stalkers. If you guys hang around for a minute, you just might learn something. I got to meet Michelle Fielding in person a few months ago. She came to the United States, had a little bit of holiday vacation time, and then we went to Hawaii for the Truth Tour event out in Hawaii, and got to see her in action. She was sharing. She led us in a meditation that was just crazy powerful. You just feel that I'm actually getting little tingly bumps on me now just thinking about it. So she's been a powerful force doing spiritual coaching and mentoring and different ascension type stuff for many, many, many years. And so welcome, everybody. Welcome, Michelle, to Unpopular Viewpoint. How are you today?
How are you doing, Bruce? It was great to meet you over in the US and then go to Kauai, wasn't it? It was a fantastic location. The energies were incredible, and I think you did some meditating on the beach there when you were there, and so did I. And the thing that I noticed about Kauai was, whereas you would normally sort of go through a bit of a process, bringing in the energies, taking a bit of time, it was like, woof, wasn't it? You just
Yeah,
like close your eyes and the angels are there. It's
it
incredible,
was.
incredible. Yeah.
Aside from being just a beautiful location, you are 100% correct. There was a very, spiritual, uplifting energy that was there the old time. That was my only trip to Hawaii. I've never been to any of the other islands, and everybody knows, what's going on now on Maui and the fires that they're calling wildfires. There's something that just doesn't. It's fishy in Denmark there. Something just doesn't add up. Lots of different things. I don't know exactly, what could be verified and true, but there's lots of people suffering over there. So we, keep those people, lifted up, sending, protection vibes and energy to them out there, what they're going through in Hawaii right now. But kind of just if people don't know, who you are, what you're about, if he's kind of a brief description or description bio on yourself, so people can understand who you are, what you do, and how you got into doing the spiritual coaching stuff that you do.
So going all the way back to the very beginning, I used to work in corporate business as a personnel consultant. And I didn't really like the corporate world. I didn't like the politics. And because I was an empath, I didn't like all the backstabbing sort of energies. And I decided to move out of that and go sort of self-employed. And after I had my daughter, I got quite unwell and I had to stop working for a little while. And somebody introduced me to something called Reiki, which I'd never heard of. And I hadn't been very well. I've been doing traditional things, going to the doctors and things, and trying other things like reflexology, which were helpful, but I'd never heard of this Reiki. So my friend had this piece of paper with a symbol on it, and she put it underneath this healing bed. And I thought she was probably a bit mad at that point, because this is going back quite a long time ago. And I got on the bed and I could feel the energy of the symbol coming up through the bed before she'd even started. And then she's explained to me, you're going to feel maybe some heat or something when I put my hands on you, and don't worry about it. But if you want me to stop, the normal sort of things that a healer would say. And it was the most incredible, life-changing experience. And while I was having this treatment, I could feel numerous hands on me, even though there was only one lady in the room. All the guides had come to help, hers and mine. And again, this feeling of the energy from this symbol coming up through the bed. So I never forgot about that experience. And I moved then to Spain. And when I arrived in Spain, I started to have these feelings in my hands, like really hot feelings all the time. And when I was around people, I could see where energy was stuck on them. And I wanted to kind of put my hands on them and push the energy out. It was overwhelming. And in the end, I went to see a spiritual coach. And I sat there for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, telling this spiritual coach all these things that were happening to me, all these what I thought were weird experiences, things I was seeing and hearing in my hands. And he just sat there and listened. And then at the end, Bruce, I was expecting him to sort of talk to me for hour, maybe an hour, about what I needed to do. And his advice was this. He said to me, I want you to go home. I want you to write on a piece of paper, universe, each day, tell me what I need to know and give me the correct words to say it or do it, or action to do it. It was something very simple. And that was all he said. And I came away from there thinking, wow, I've just sat there for 2 hours telling this man all these things. And he says just to pin this on my mirror and say it every morning to the mirror. I thought he was crazy. Anyway, I did it because I something was driving me to understand all these things. I wanted to know, and it completely changed my life. Because in spiritual terms, if you want anything to happen, like you want to meet your angels or you want help from the universe, you firstly have to ask. You have to ask. And then the second part of it is you need to believe that something that you're asking for could actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing is you have to be ready to receive it. And boy, Bruce, what happened then was amazing experiences. I started to see angels. I started to have all these different orbs coming into my life. So I would be like lying in bed and orbs would roll in on the floor. It was just incredible. And at that point, I didn't really understand what all those things meant because we're going back a long time now, maybe 30 years. But then bit by bit, I realized that the reason I had enjoyed the corporate world was because I'd enjoyed helping people. And the reason I hadn't enjoyed the corporate world was because it was fake. So I took away the part that I liked, the helping people, and I asked the universe to show me, how can I be a spiritual coach? And then I had about 10 years of lessons, very hard lessons, very difficult things happening. And I didn't understand at the time, but they were the initiations I needed to be able to then become somebody who could help others. Because now when people come to me with different things going on in their life, not only can I read them energetically, but also I can have empathy for them and compassion because I'd also been through very difficult situations. And so the universe had given me exactly what I asked for. I had said, please help me become a spiritual coach. And it took a long time, but it's because I had to go through all of those different learning experiences first.
Sure.
And so then I was doing that, Bruce. I was teaching groups in my hometown. I was teaching online. I was writing a book about angels. I was doing all sorts of things. And then we got to the freaky flu. And obviously everything got shut down. So all my normal business at home, people couldn't come anymore. But this is the amazing thing, Bruce, that about a year before the freaky flu, I had been saying to my groups, I'm going to be winding this down because they're telling me, my guides, I've got to go online and I've got to reach a bigger audience. And I said to my groups, I don't know how I'm going to do it because I didn't have any technical ability at all. didn't know anything about doing this type of thing, Bruce. I didn't even have a website. And so I had gradually started to make a website. I was watching lots of YouTube videos about how to be a YouTuber. And then the flu came, and I realized I had everything ready to go. So then everything hit, as you know, and there was this narrative going out, obviously outside in the news and what everyone was saying. And I was getting very clear, it's not what you're being told. None of this is what you're being told. There's something else going on. And so bit by bit, what they started to explain to me was that there was this world change going on, and everything was going to look different, and the politics and the structures were all changing. And then about a year in, I started to get the channelings around the real situation that's going on in terms of how the world is going to be. It looks like it's going to be overseen by some kind of military concept where we're going to be free of these governments and control, and we're going to be able to vote from a centralized position in our homes. And it looks like the military, the highest levels of military, are going to, I don't know if replace is the right word, but they're going to be more active in our lives than maybe they have been before, or maybe they have been, but we just haven't realized. And this is what's going to allow for this corrupt governments and structures to be taken out.
That is a pretty incredible story. So just to kind of back up a little bit and probe. So when you were in the corporate world, I mean, you had no intention. I mean, did you have any upbringing in any type of spiritual or religious type of sense? When you're in that corporate world, did you have, I know about being an empath, because my wife Natalie is a huge empath, and the more that my awakening happens and I'm becoming more of an empath. I'd not used to be that way. I used to be the guy but I don't have a heart. I just don't care. I was always, pretty selfish. But as I gave in and started to explore these different options, or these different, the spiritual sense, because we got to realize that come back up 100%. This whole situation that we're in on a global scale, it's a spiritual battle, and has been for a very long time. There's that whole saying, nothing can stop what is coming. This has been a plan. Talk about the plan. This has been in place for many years. For this transformation, if you will, or a replacement, you use that word, transition from the way things have gone, the corruptness and the ruling elites, kind of having their boot on the neck of humanity. I've used that term a lot. They've had that for many years. We're essentially slaves in their system, and so we're going to be, transitioning out of that, into a new age of, I call it love and light. There's different people use the term, the age of Aquarius, 1,000 years of peace, or whatever you want to call it. But we are on that path. And so being you didn't have any of that, spiritual upbringing or background, when this stuff was going on, as you were learning and you asked the universe, because that's key in anything. When we talk about manifestation or any of this type of stuff, if you have to ask, you have to put it out there, and then believe that what you're asking for is going to happen. And then when it's there, you got to be able to see it and step into that role. So do you think that you are different or special in any way? Or is this what you have done or gone through, or whatever? There's lots of different people in different stages of ascension. That anybody can move and partake and be a part of this spiritual situation. It's a learned thing, or do you think it's an imparted gift? Is kind of my question.
Well, I think the thing is, I was probably born as a high vibration being already, but because I was already it, I didn't realize I was that. because I was just it every day. It's like if you're a dog and you only ever look outside and you see other dogs, you only think you're a dog. It's not until a cat comes along that you realize actually there's something. What's that?
Right.
So, like in your story, you're explaining you were a certain way, and then there was this change that happened, and then you could see the difference. For me, it was like I'd already been awake, and nobody understood me. So as a child, I was quite isolated. I was on my own. And I had all this sensitivity, and I was always being told, "You're too sensitive. You need to stop being so sensitive." And so my family, who weren't awake, were always trying to close down that side of me. So I don't think I'm special in any way, but I just think that when you don't understand that the things that are going on for you, other people don't feel or know that. That was when I became awake in a way, when I realized that actually other people don't get it. They don't understand what I can feel and see. And that can be quite painful then, because you are then even more isolated, because now you realize you're maybe the only one in the group that's around you. So it can be quite a lonely journey. And if anything positive has come out of the last 3 years, is that we've all found our group. We found like-minded people. And even if we're only talking through a screen like we are today, it's very good to have that connection, even if it is through a screen, rather than to think you're the only one and you're not understood.
Right. And I think part of the, the more of the evil plan. One of the elements of that plan is that, the 6 feet apart, keeping everybody isolated, locked down in your houses. But that's, Mark Atwood has said that, the same thing. And I totally believe that the freaky flu, as you call it, was probably one of the biggest blessings that ever, that they ever, put on humanity, because of the fact that people realized, hey, I'm different. And there are other people that a lot of people felt left on the island. That's one that I've mentioned a lot of the time, is this whole truth tour thing that we did, getting out and doing these different events all over the country, is that people realize, hey, I am not alone. There are other people who feel and sense and see the things that I see. And we're building this, I want to say community, but it's bigger than a community. We're being connected, like I said, via screen. You're way over there in Europe somewhere at an undisclosed location, and I'm here in the U.S. So, but we can connect. And there's when I met you in person, that's one of the beautiful things that I appreciate about the ascension process and how it's affected me in my life, is that I can sense there's people that I meet, I just feel like I've known you my entire life, right? You get that you're on that same vibration, that same plane, that similar frequency, and that you just connect with. And there's so many people out there who watch this show and other shows and people we've met in person, that, hey, yeah, that's been the blessing of this thing, that we know and realize we're not alone, that we're not some freaky thing, that there's not something wrong with us. That we're really, as we were talking before we started recording, that we are the normal ones, and everybody else is the freaky, crazy ones, because they just can't see it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it, right?
Yeah. I mean, things that are just very normal to me, to my family and my cousins and uncles and aunts and things like that, to them, they just think I'm crazy. They can't see it at all. And it could be just simple things like I would never drink tap water, or I wouldn't use fluoride toothpaste. This is before the freaky flu. Just certain things that, just didn't feel right to me. And I didn't really understand this bigger plan that we've all now found out since. It was just normal for me that I had a bad feeling about a certain thing and I didn't want to do that. And I would find a better way to do it. But yes, I think the lockdowns, they didn't really plan for how much that would bring all of us together and make us stronger.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they grossly underestimated that particular factor in their equation.
I think so.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of people I saw interview. I think it might have been from 2012 around that time that there was an ex-military guy. I think it was Kerry Cassidy who was interviewing the guy, and they were talking about that Project Looking Glass situation, where no matter what information they put in, all the different variables and factors, everything always ended up at the same place, right? Doesn't matter what decisions, there's nothing can stop what's coming. This was always going to happen, no matter what, people try to do to stop or slow or, change that course. The universe has this plan in place, and it's all for the benefit of humanity. And that's some of the stuff too that's very intriguing to me, is I haven't gotten that deep, or that maybe that's just not my vein of purpose. But the things that the channeling that you've done, you seem to be sometimes years ahead of when things actually start to happen. I mean, you were talking about certain things you didn't know what it was before, when you started talking about it, but now years later you're seeing and getting validation from other people that, hey, I was talking about this a while back and everybody thought I was crazy. Now I seem to be on the right page. And you don't have, so talk a little bit about your channeling stuff and how that worked, and where you started doing that, and that some of the information you were given back then, and then now, just like on your Rumble channel, and I'll share that information and make sure I put in the link, the description, the link for your Rumble channel, and I'll in a minute here I'll show you your website, the Golden Heaven on Earth website. It's a lovely website. And so you just did a show yesterday with Derek Johnson, Brad Wansley, and the other one, AJ Roberts. They were talking about that they were the stuff that you don't understand. You're not that technical person, but the information that's being downloaded, for a better sense of the word, or imparted to you, is being validated. So talk a little bit about the channeling aspect and how that's kind of coming full circle, and you're becoming validated for stuff that people said you're a nut job a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. So before the Freaky Flu, I used to channel the Great White Brotherhood, and they're a group of ascended masters who teach different schools of learning, different schools of thought from the etheric realms. So if they needed to teach about love, for instance, I might get a certain teacher come in that would channel a lesson. And on my YouTube channel, there's plenty of those. There's plenty of messages from that group of people. And then you have one other one in there called Commander Ashtar. And he's been heavily debated over the past 3 years, and I've chuckled about it. Is he this? Is he that? Is he something else? And about, I would say in 2014, when he used to come through, which is not that often, but when he does come through, he used to put a symbol at the bottom, which was like a triangle shape at the bottom, 2 triangles like that. It used to look like something out of Star Trek. And that's how he used to sign off. Because when I'm channeling, I write everything down, and sometimes they'll draw me pictures and they'll sign off in a certain way. And then the Freaky Flu began, and I started to get information, as you know, about Starlink. And I was being told, as I said before, about how there was a different system coming in which was going to replace politics. And in the beginning, I didn't really understand any of it. I mean, I don't understand about cybersecurity and military plans and things like that. So I've been putting out information from a pure place, meaning what that means is I'm not more special than anybody else. But what happens is if you're given information that you don't necessarily understand, then you can't have any emotional reaction to it, because
you're biased, right? Yeah.
Yes, you have no reaction to it because you have no motivation to adjust the message in any way. So it would be, the way to explain it, Bruce, is if, for instance, right now I started channeling Japanese, Now, I don't know any Japanese, right? So if Japanese started to come through me right now, I wouldn't have any opinion about it because I don't understand Japanese anyway. I would just be writing it down, whatever they told me. And that's what was happening with a lot of my channeling since the freaky flu. And so, as you've rightly said, some of the things in the beginning were a little bit intense. I didn't understand them, and I don't think the audience really understood it either. But now, just recently, it's been shown that there is this space force and there is this delta division with that symbol that I've been drawing for over 10 years. And I think the etheric counterpart is the Galactic Federation overseeing it all. And that's where Commander Ashtar comes in. But of course, at that time, 10 years ago, I didn't understand all of that. So I think what's happening for me is that I'm getting information maybe 3 years out, sometimes further. And so when people first hear it, it sounds incredibly difficult for them. It sounds crazy because we're talking about technological advancements that we've never seen before, and we probably don't quite understand. So, as I said, when it comes in, I'm just a clean vessel, and I always repeat back when I read out my channeling, I always read it exactly word for word. I don't try to interpret it. And sometimes it doesn't make sense initially, but then as you go down a bit further down the line, it does start to make sense, maybe a year or so later. And yesterday as you said, I was on with Derek Johnson and Brad and AJ, and now seems that a lot of what I've been saying for some time, even before Derek came on the scene, has come to fruition and is well on its way. So it's pretty incredible, really, Bruce.
Oh yeah, that would be mind blowing for sure, to not have any concept or understanding of information you're getting, but then also having the trust in what you're getting, and also the guts, if you will, for lack of a better word, to put that information out there, even though you don't completely understand. Hey, this is what it is. This is what I'm getting. Good, bad, or indifferent. Here it is, and then let the chips fall. So I'm excited that getting to know you and hearing this information, seeing the things that you were given starting to come to fruition. We had mentioned, we were talking before we started recording, there's a lot of things that are coming that way. We joke around, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? And it used to be about 18 months. Now it's, in the 3 to 6 month range, so we're going to have to find some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones are coming true. So they're not conspiracy theories anymore about the hokey pokey, the freaky flu, the corruptness in all of our political situations. Doesn't matter the country you're in, it's a global situation and it's all the same. So the tearing down and the replacement of that is super exciting. And there's many people, myself included, can have a certain level of frustration because maybe we were read in, through impartation or something, or research, whatever. And many of us thought that this whole situation would be over and we would be on the other side of it a lot sooner than is currently happening. So there's a lot of people out there that may be, like myself, having a level of frustration, wondering, maybe losing some hope, that, hey, maybe this is all bullshit and we don't know, we're going to be slaves for the rest of our life. There's nothing's going to change. So we're battling, right? But as you know, and I have seen, and I know, like I know my own name, that this is moving forward. The zit is about to pop, if you will. And, we cannot change it. It has to be done this way because really, we only have really one shot to be able to make this, transformation happen and for it to stick.
I think the thing is, Bruce, as well, that we might have thought in the beginning that someone was going to come in and save us.
Right.
thought the white hats were going to ride in on their white horses behind Donald Trump, and that was going to be it. It was all going to be sorted out. And what we've learned, and what I'm learning still, is that in order to have this new system, albeit a technological system, people have to be able to discern what is right for them and to be able to make decisions on their own. And so what is going on here is we're trying to unravel years and years of programming. So we're doing a reversed psychology programming on everybody. We're trying to reverse the programming that they've already had through a psychological operation. And so when you're seeing things like the arguments about, transgender or not, or is Ron DeSantis good or bad, or is somebody else this or somebody else that, and all these arguments that create sides all the time. And it really, even Commander Ashtar, is Commander Ashtar a bad entity or a good? Everything in the last 3 years has been brought up and argued about, so everybody's blue in the face. And the point of it all is this, that at the end of the day, you've got to decide, do I like Commander Ashtar? Is he right for me? Yes or no? Do I agree with the transgender movement? Is it right for me? Yes or no? Do I agree with Ron DeSantis? La, 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 la. And all the arguing is really being created deliberately so that you exhaust yourself with all the back and forth, so that in the end you just say, do you know what? I'm out. I'm just going to go with what feels right for me. And it's kind of teaching people, you don't listen to that platform or that radio or that TV station. Yes, you can listen, but at the end of the day, you've got to start deciding what information is right for me. Because what you'll see certain platforms, could be Fox News, for instance. I'm just putting out any name now. And on Monday, they hate Trump. And on Tuesday, they love him. And then on Wednesday, they hate him again. And then on Thursday, they don't. And so people are confused. Do Fox News like Trump or not? And that's the point. The point is, you've got to decide, do you like Trump? Not what Fox News are telling you. And so what the slow process is, if you can think of it that way even, I think actually, if you look at the whole thing, what they're trying to do worldwide, it's going really fast. The amount of change they're trying to create on humanity.
Oh yeah.
Is a huge task, right? But in the end, what will happen is we all need to be able to discern what we want for us as individuals, as individual people, what's right for us. And then by the time people have been deprogrammed to be able to do that, then the new technology, which is already there and running in the beta, will be available to us for us to then do this voting for what we want from our homes. And we won't need all this government structures in the same way telling us what we should think, basically.
Right. I mean, no, that's a powerful statement. I mean, I hadn't really heard it, but the way you just explained it, light bulb kind of went off in my head that, this process isn't about, I mean, it's about us growing, but us getting in touch with our individual selves and what's right for us and helping us to think on our own. I mean, because we know that there is a group or a collective consciousness, if you will, that 100 monkey effect type of situation where, even though we're separated, we can have our own thoughts and minds, but we are being drawn into some more collective sense. But that's different than what you're like just a group think type of thing where they put out there and we're supposed to go, X, Y, Z and do this. And, this is the way we're supposed to do it. But that might not necessarily, so it seems like it's the same, but it's really different. I don't know if you can understand, what I'm saying, that the collective consciousness and us being individuals is one sense, and it's different than the programming and groupthink that has gone on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I agree with you 100% that the amount of change and the things that we're seeing is at a huge rapid scale compared to the hundreds and hundreds of years of all this stuff that have been forced into us in our minds, and how our programming, call it brainwashing programming, MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it, for all this time. The changes that have happened just since the freaky flu has been mind-blowing. So it is moving at a rapid pace, but the people like yourself, or even some of the what I call OG type of truthers, people like the David Ikes and the Alex Jones and the Max Egans, have been on this path since way, what David Icke had his awakening in the 80s. I can't even imagine trying to fight this battle for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We're just, 3, 4, 5 years into it myself, and it's already, frustrating and overwhelming. So this has been a process that is moving rapidly, and it is about individualism, but it is also about us, moving to a higher place rather than it's a selfish situation. It's more for everybody else, because you had mentioned about wanting to serve, help people, and that's what kind of the good part you pulled out of the corporate sense, and that's what's been driving you in your own entrepreneurial and your individualism as a spiritual coach, is wanting to serve people, serve and help people become better. And that's, I think, the changes that more people need to be, because there's still too much greed and selfishness that are driving a lot of people, especially even in our own movement. There's people out there that's all about them, that they don't really care about other people, and that's just changed. Lewis mentions it all the time, that we're moving into this like an age of authenticity. That the fake ones and the people who are selfish and call them patriots, PAY, looking to get a paycheck, or looking to maximize their own gain through this whole situation, those ones are going to fall by the wayside. And moving forward, and as we transition, there's going to be a lot of people that need the healing and some explanation and some guidance and teaching about how we move forward. So I think that's where we're at, and I'm super excited to be associated with you and about it. So tell us a little bit about some of the most recent channeling, about the system, because you had mentioned about you talked about a military thing that's going to be global, a peace system. And, right as soon as I hear that, it pops in my mind, well, that sounds kind of like the New World Order, the one world government situation. So, can you talk about what that is looking like for you, and maybe how the differences are from what that New World Order, what the Great Reset they're trying to put us into, versus what the Galactic Federation and these higher powers are guiding us to?
So basically, it is a one world system in the sense that all governments around the world all countries around, not governments, all countries around the world will be signing in to this system, this worldwide military system. And in order to be signed into it, they have to agree that they're going to abide by the precepts of peace, not only to their citizens, but to other countries. And then if they abide by, and there'll be obviously lots of others, but this is the basic principles that I've been taught. So all the countries sign into this technology, which gives them access then to the quantum system, which can run your quantum banking, communications, your military, everything. And below that, you've got the people who have is decentralized to the people. So in your home, you have your quantum computer, laptop, whatever. And if you and me, Bruce, lived in the same street, and we needed someone to come and empty the bins, we would have our options on our phone, who wants to do the job. And each of us in our home, in our street, would vote for, that bin man or whatever, and that would be the one we get. there'd be no need for any governments or bureaucracy to interfere. We would just vote from our quantum phone to the quantum system. And it's as simple as that, really. And if any countries start to not abide by the peace plan, because this will create a peace plan, because the countries have to abide by the rules of the treaties to be involved. So let's say one of the countries decide they're not going to do that. They're going to pull away from the original ideas and try to control their citizens. Okay, let's imagine they try to control us. The system will lock them out. And no country is going to want to be locked out of something that's going to shut down their communications, shut down their banking, shut down their internet, and stop them from trading and being a part of this whole group. So it's about controlling the leaders of the countries, if you like, making them do the right thing, if that's even the right term, and the people having complete freedom and being in a decentralized system where they're not having to be controlled by bureaucratic and corrupt officials, because there won't be a need for all those layers that we've got right now in between.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So the difference between what the World Economic Forum, United Nations, all these different groups pushing for this great reset, the one world government type of situation, that is centralized. They are the ones who make the rules, and we have to abide by those rules. But what you're saying is the system is decentralized. The new system is decentralized, where we, the people, like your shirt, we're pissed off, and we have control. We, the people, make those decisions, and based on the security of the systems and the quantum, that it can't be messed with or corrupted, if you will, because of the decentralization. Blockchain, if anybody knows any about that type of stuff, it's very it's trackable, and it's you can't F with it, right? It is what it is, and it gets the truth. So that's a huge difference from what people think of a one world government. But when you talk about the whole global thing, it's decentralized, giving we the people the power versus the politicians. And the politicians then are which is what they should be all along. Most countries have the constitutions and their documents, founding documents, whatever, that it's the people that are supposed to be controlling and having decisions in our freedom, where they're trying to steal that away from us. So that's super exciting. And when you talk about the quantum system, the financial system, it includes banking and the finance and monies, and the quantum internet, where it's decent. There's no one person throttling, or the censorship that's now going on all the different social medias trying to drive the narrative in one way, and you can't. The truth is, if you tell the truth, or you attempt to tell something different than what the narrative is, be a divergent opinion, then you're shut out, you're cast out, you're demonized. We're in that beginning phase of us breaking through that. So that's super exciting. Is there any time frame? I mean, I know we hate dates and time frames, but I mean, is this something that you see, or you've heard, or that you've received is a generational before we get into this thing, or is it potentially in our lifetimes, or is there any type of guidance on that they have given you? I'm just curious.
So I just wanted to confirm, first of all, when we're talking about centralized and decentralized, and this is the amazing thing about the new system, the top bit is centralized because all the countries are signed into it to make a worldwide military peace plan. So they're all involved up here, having to be in the centralized system. They all have to agree to act in terms of peace. Down here, it's decentralized, and all the people can make all their decisions on their own. They don't have to be told what to do. and they send their decision, what they want to do personally, back up to the centralized system. So in terms of when we're going to see this and timeframes, this is why we're seeing on the ground all the dancing around with elections and Trump and who was there fraud, and it's taking longer than we expected, and is 24 going to run? All that is just a story whilst they get this top system absolutely secure. The Delta Force, which I was talking about earlier, which is part of this cyber system, is the departments where they are doing the cyber security, because this centralized system has to be very secure so that people can't hack into it or do things to it to adjust its security levels. So where it is right now is it's built out, the countries are signing in, and what you've got is the Delta forces up there, the cybersecurity people writing the programs, which you've heard me talking about before as Web 5, Web 7. They're writing these software programs and layers of different ideas and techniques to stop people being able to hack into it. And that's what the delay is. And I've been told that they're hoping to release it in a way that we can then move on with our lives by 26, 27. So what that means is on the 1st of January 2026, we're not going to wake up and it's all going to switch over on that day. But what hopefully is going to start happening is you're going to start to see it being introduced more and more into your daily life.
Right.
Don't forget, this is multi-layered, so it's going to be communications, finance, education. There's an awful lot to do. So in the meantime, to keep everything looking like it's business as usual, you will see the election process going on and all the normal things that are happening that, everyone's arguing about. But Mr. Trump, it was never supposed to be president. He was only meant to be a sting operation, and he's actually the commander-in-chief of this system up here, the military system. And so down here, all he is the salesperson, if you like, moving it all along at this level, keeping everyone, doing that back and forth that we were talking about before. Do we like Trump or not? Do we want Biden or not? Do we like Ron DeSantis or not? Blah, blah, blah. And what that creates, which we didn't cover before, was that when people get overwhelmed with not knowing, they back off and they go inside.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is where you get your rising in consciousness, right, which helps the global consciousness to come up, because all the answers are inside of people. So the disinformation campaigns are meant to make everybody agitated and angry and arguing, and until they get so exasperated that they have to back off and they have to go away and think about it for themselves, i.e. they go inside. And while they're inside thinking about what do I want, what do I really think about this, they're becoming awake, because they're no longer listening just to what CNN says or Fox or what The Voice says on the radio. So the overwhelm is creating an awakening in people. So
I want to hammer that point a little bit, because that's a huge thing. And this what's going on now, some of its purpose is to make people kind of freak out, get overwhelmed, withdraw a little bit, and go inside and find out who they really are, what their purpose is, what really is important to them, and that helping them go forward. So because until you get right inside, until you're just going to be somebody who follows everybody else. So I mean that's huge, and so people need to understand that some of this is intended to make you freak out and be overwhelmed, so that you do that introspection, get in touch, get reconnected with God, source, universe, however, whatever name you want to put on it, so that you can get the guidance and transform and raise your own level of consciousness, ascend, raise your vibration, raise your frequency. We hear all these different terms, but that's super powerful there. I love that.
That's why you've got a lot of voices giving out information saying next week this is going to happen, we're going to have an EBS, or next week there's going to be war in all over the world, or next week you're not going to have any food, because all of those narratives, even though they may not come to fruition or they don't seem to be happening, what they're doing is they're creating this reverse psychology effect, because now people are having to think for themselves. They're having to think, could that really happen? Do I believe that's going to happen? Is that someone just saying it for the sake of making a video? I'm sick of it all. I'm just going to pull back and think for myself. So all of it's got a purpose. Even the disinformation agents, it all has an underlying purpose of getting people to think for themselves.
No, that's crazy powerful. And if there's one thing that people get from watching this show, that is it right there. This whole connection, me having you on here, I believe there's a lot of people are going to hear that, and the light bulb is going to go on, and they're going to feel a release of some of the anxiety, some of the frustration, some of the overwhelm. Right? We need to have the proper amount of whelm. We don't want to be overwhelmed. We don't want to be underwhelmed. We just need to find that proper amount of whelm. And so that's where we're at, and that's the key moving forward. And we are in control of that. I mean, if more people would grasp that concept, we can control and move this timeline along further, right?
Yeah, because the whelm is that place when you're content and peaceful with what you've decided and who you are. And you get up each day, and yes, life throws things at you, but ultimately, when you know who you are, what you believe in, and you believe that you have a purpose and you're happy with what that purpose is, then you're peaceful. So the right amount of whelm is where people get up and they're content and peaceful with who they are essentially on the inside, and they don't allow all the narratives around them to disrupt that. They allow that they listen, they look at it, but it doesn't disrupt who they truly are.
Right.
And when you've got that right amount of whelm, that right amount of peace, you're vibrating at a certain frequency, which helps everybody else around you.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Yes. And then, too, this whole ascension game, I've used the analogy in my mind's eye. The visualization I got is we're on this ladder, ascending this ladder, and there are people that are on the ladder that are further up the ladder than me. And you've been doing this a lot longer than myself, so I consider you like one of those people. So you're up there, I'm reaching up, you're reaching back, you're pulling me up, right? I'm doing the same thing. There's people who aren't at the level or frequency or the level of ascension or the same frequency as I am. So I'm reaching down that ladder, helping those people up, and everybody helps each other up the ladder, and it's a total unified effort. And that's one of the other key things when we talk about, being unified. It's not everybody thinking and believing the same thing. We just don't want to be, robots in that sense, but unified in the sense of our individualism, of our love for humanity, of our desire to serve other people. Because if that's the ultimate thing, is that love is the unconditional love, the caring for other people, that regardless if it benefits me or not, that's where we're in that breaking point, I think, in society. And there's many more people that believe and think along these same lines, but because of the machine, the matrix system, whatever, they're fearful of stepping up and stepping out and walking in their purpose because of the potential social backlash, if you will, that may come on them. They might risk their job, family members, You know, I've had situations with my family members. I talked to tons of other people. You know, you had, you know, told me you had some family situations in the past as well. So there's all this different things that we're moving in a collective sense to be able to, you know, overcome. And so, you know, I'm going to share real quickly before I forget. I'm going to share the screen and share your website. So if you want to get, you know, find out more about Michelle and her stuff, what she does, she's got her website, which is Golden Heaven on Earth. Really nice website. I like it. It's laid out nice, easy to navigate. Got some testimonials. You have on here different products and classes and videos you can get. You talk about is that you wrote that book, The God Consciousness, or your books are on here too?
Yeah, there's books on there. There's meditations. You can book sessions with me. And there's healing technologies on there like RIFE and SCALAR that you can buy through the website. If you're
if you want to, you know, see some of her stuff, you can check out her Rumble channel, Golden Angel 2032. Does 2032 have any significance?
Well, 2032 has been predicted as the point where we can officially say that we're in the golden age, which you were talking about earlier. Some people call it the age of love or the 1,000 years of peace, or, you know, it's a significant date when people have felt that that's when we'll be able to sort of look around us and think that we're in a different state of consciousness, whatever you want to call that.
Well, and then you also have a locals, right? That's connected to that as well.
Yeah, locals.
Yeah, you can join the locals.com through the Rumble channel. And then you're one of the few people that I know of that still has a YouTube channel that seems to be thriving. You put little blurbs on here, shorts and different things. So, you know, Michelle Fielding, just search Michelle Fielding on YouTube. And I will put all the links for all this stuff in the description of the video. So if you miss it, you didn't see what I shared here, you'll be able to get that and follow Michelle, you know, track and you'll be a part, support her and her work, because she has done doing some phenomenal stuff. And I, you know, personally attest to, you know, her power and her energy. I've experienced myself, you know, in-person meditations with her, and just her general vibe and how she carries herself. She's just a very even-keeled person. You know, you and my wife hit it off really, really well. So I don't know if that's good or bad for me. Maybe probably, you know, good said. But as we end up here, we're pushing, you know, getting close to an hour-ish. Any you know, final words or encouragement or you know, something to share with people to help them, you know, maybe better themselves, become the best version, you know, because that's what we're doing, is we're trying to become the best version of ourselves. I don't know if you've watched him, but I found Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters.
Yeah, yes.
Ralph,
the cat down the road.
Yeah, the cat down the road, exactly. So I watch him. He does a lot of great stuff, and he's, you know, all about that, you know, similar type things. But you know, any final, you know, words of wisdom, something to help somebody become the best version of themselves.
So not everybody is comfortable with doing videos or standing up and speaking out, and they might not have the confidence or feel that they can do that. So then they wonder, well, what can I do? So what you can do is you can concentrate on how peaceful you are, because everything is a vibration. We all vibrate, all of us. We're quantum beings, we're energy. And when you are in a room, people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
How you made them feel was based on how you were vibrating inside, how peaceful you were. So if you don't know what to do in terms of speaking about these things, then perhaps look at just finding ways to become more peaceful with yourself, maybe through meditation or going for walks in the countryside or journaling, or just becoming more calm with being able to go inside and listen to what's going on inside of you. And when you go inside through meditation or contemplation, or just being in a calm place, you can become more clear about who you are. And that is what you then do as a purpose. You go out into the world, you vibrate this level of peace, this contentment. And as it goes out, it touches all the people around you and it helps them to have more peace and contentment. And that's how we change the world. A bit like your one hand pulling someone up, one person leading, your vibration does exactly the same. It touches all the others. But it also does is it does this amazing thing where it leaves these little imprints like little keys. You imagine a key that can open a door, right? When you go past people with your peace, you're leaving little tiny keys. And those little keys, they sit with that person until they go inside one day and they're thinking about their life and they're trying to find the meaning. And in that moment, when they're trying to find the meaning, one of your keys unlocks a little piece for them and they get it and a light bulb goes on. And all you actually did to help that happen, that process, was you looked after yourself. You looked after what's right for me, what helps me to get through each day in a peaceful way, and how can I serve others? And when you keep with that and you stay in your center, you are helping the whole of humanity, because we're quantum beings and we're energetic beings. And so what my spiritual guides teach me constantly is that message, that we stand between heaven and earth like filaments of light. We're connecting the two, heaven and earth. And so our purpose, yes, we can be doctors and singers and hosts on YouTube, but our purpose is to find our inner peace, to connect between heaven and earth, and then to vibrate that peace out to the others. And as I said, if you feel comfortable with speaking up about things, then you do that. But if you don't, you're just as powerful by creating this feeling inside, staying centered, and sending it out to the others, who will then get your little keys, and then that opens them up when the time is right. So there's no amount of work you can do on yourself that ever gets wasted, because you never know when those keys are going to open for something for somebody else. And that's just by you being yourself each and every day.
Powerful. So yeah, make sure you get to her website. If you're never done any meditation, you're kind of new to it, and you're trying to be some guided meditations or key, that's kind of where I like to start my journey, is in guided. And on her YouTube channel, you do have some guided meditations there that people can just play and get into a quiet space, someplace comfortable, have that playing, and as you talk them through, which you have this beautiful angelic voice with that English accent. I love it. It's so soothing and calming and reassuring that the guided meditation, you go through that. So, a few times in this process, you will build, it's like building a house, or you got to get a good foundation, one piece on top of another. And then before you know it, you're on top of the world. You're affecting and, changing the lives of other people that you don't even know about it, just by being the best version of yourself you can be. So thank you, Michelle, so much for taking some time sharing with us today. I cannot wait until we can be face to face again, because it was just a pure blessing to hang out and chat with you here in Clearwater, and then in Hawaii as well. When we were in LA and then Hawaii. So yeah, all over the place.
Yeah, we were.
So in one of these days, I'm going to get, if we can get some stability, it'd be nice. I'd like to get over onto your side of the pond and explore some of that, because I've never been over there. I want to come over there, see you, see Mark over there in Ireland, experience that whole culture and have a holiday over there on that side as well. So thank you again for all your work and the inspiration and guidance you've given so many people all over the planet. It's very much appreciated, and we will catch you next time. So remember, I always like to close every show with telling people, make sure you know that love overcomes fear. The enemy wants us to live in this fear space and this worry. If we just operate in that love, that stay in that love bubble, like Mike Jaco talks about, that love frequency, we will overcome that fear, and we will. There is no way, nothing can stop what is coming. We will change our world and humanity for the better, for the future. And I'm super excited to be a part, be alive, and be participating in this transformation of our humanity, if you will, raising that consciousness. So thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like and share and all that stuff. Help us overcome the algorithm. We know we're still even being suppressed, even on Rumble. The numbers I know, just they don't make sense. So there's some funky stuff going on. We're still being suppressed and different things. But if more people like, share, and even comment, if there's something, comment in the that helps as well. So make sure you make it a great day, and we will catch you next time. Bruce Poppy and Michelle Fielding, have a nice day.